impressive she is. She's much better than Cruz, I will tell you that hands down.
I'm just here trying to work, man.
That is never the case with you. You're here to work and to cause mischief. You really make me deny this guy.
It's the hat.
I'm sorry, it is the hat. He's much cooler than you.
That's not hard.
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Phoenix.
Phoenix, that's a great name. Were you born in Phoenix?
No, I'm actually from Texas, but I do get that a lot.
You do. All right, sir, go ahead.
So you touched on this.
Sir, can I ask you what media outlet you're with?
I'm with Phoenix Rising in America.
Phoenix Rising in America. Okay, I like that. Okay. Go ahead.
So you touched on this during your speech about unity and how we're divided in America. But what do you think kids my age can do to help unite our country?
So what excites me about kids your age is some of the greatest chapters of American history, young people were leading in them. In fact, there's one of my favorite books called Parting the Waters about the Civil Rights Movement, was about how children in Birmingham from ages about 8 to 18 actually led the movement for social change there. And so I think that young people have to begin to understand that you don't have to wait. You can start being an activist for change right now by being the change you want to see in the world and evidencing the values that you ultimately expect older people to be embodying. So I'm hoping that you all will be more creative. You don't need a middle-aged guy to tell young people about activism. Find your own creative ways. Use your social media platforms. Use your networks. Do the kind of things that challenge this country to be the highest versions of our aspirations, our values, and our best selves.
I know you're busy, but do you think you'd have time for one more question?
I think that these guys would tolerate one more question for you. Yes. Don't let him. Don't be rude like he is. Just you were doing fine. You don't need Cruz's advice here. Go ahead.
Well, in 2006, there was an assassination attempt on your life due to your strong attack on crime in Newark. Did that change your policy and take on that after that threat on your life was foiled?
No, look, I've had a lot of death threats in my days, but you don't let those things distract you. You take precautions, you be safe, but you keep fighting for what you believe in. I have done nothing that in any way is even a shadow of the bravery that people before you and I were showing for their country. Whether it's people that stormed beaches in Normandy or people that used to go out on freedom rides knowing that they would get beaten or even killed. So we come from a long line of tradition of people who put their lives on the lines for our freedoms and the kind of privileges we enjoy. So I don't think I could ever allow myself to get distracted by those threats. You have to keep your eyes on the prize, keep focused on doing what's right.
And having been through that, what would you say to people who want to hurt or even assassinate people on the other side of the aisle, such as President Trump? Having been through that, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I don't want to say that there are people who are Republicans or Democrats. We have some pretty awful politics sometimes, but thank God the norm is not violence, as it is in other countries. And so I just want to continue to try to be a leader that inspires kindness and decency and respect. And I think that when you do that, that energy affects other people and makes a difference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for your
Phoenix.
time.
Phoenix, great job.
You were asked about the eye but you didn't bring it up in your remarks. And other candidates are taking that same path. Why is it not something you bring up yourself?
This is the second time in my entire life. But you also know my stuff speeches, I'm talking more about the values of this country and fighting with people. So it's just the way that I believe in as a senator, as a deputy civics, and strong on Washington about impeachment is something that I've been talking about for a long time and plan on addressing that in my role as a judiciary committee and operations committee. But the last speech that I'm talking about really has to do with the values of the country. And I think that undergirds a lot of the other issues, including issues of firing or over office or civility, and all of those things that are necessary outgrowths of the values of the country.
Send it to 2 points.
2 parts?
2 parts.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one, the White House says they will not participate in the investigation, not make anything or anyone available. Are we on the verge of a genuine constitutional crisis?
I think that if the President of the United States is saying that he's not going to comply with congressional oversight, we have a problem. But we still have processes in which to challenge that, including using judicial means. Now, being that we've started an impeachment inquiry, I think that gives us even more leverage to force the President of the United States to comply. But it's a very dangerous thing when the President of the United States says he's not subject to the checks and balances as prescribed by the Constitution. So we are in a very dangerous period, but I do believe that ultimately we will be able to hold him accountable.
Do you think the president has infinite wisdom?
No, I do not. Nor do I think any human being does. And I think his arrogance, frankly, is offensive, or at least is offensive to me.
Senator, the Supreme Court today heard arguments in the Section 2 discrimination case and whether individuals are protected from being fired for no reason. What are your thoughts on that case? And if they end up deciding that those people do not have those protections, what would you do as president to counter?
So first of all, I'm here with my rights. I do not believe we should go sexual discrimination. That's when it's honestly, I don't care what title, what position you have, what always fight this now. That's why I'm original co-sponsor of Shaking All as the United States Senate, as a sure that the President of the United States and other works in the
Do you think voters should consider candidates' age and sort of health as they make their decisions?
I think that I will never tell previous considerations representing myself
I was just wondering what burning questions you have for the second most likely accept.
Well, again, first of all, I want to say that it was a public hearing. And obviously, as I recall, all my judiciary, again, I would do a lot of preparation. So I right now, I'm not prepared to tell you what the questions will be, nor what I want to telegraph them necessarily. But I'll be prepared to ask some questions I think are really important for this ongoing investigation of Donald Trump's violations of his oath of office and of national security concerns. From what I see already, I think that Giuliani has conducted itself in ways that undermine the best interests of this country. It has involved themselves as a private lawyer in ways that have not been just, especially the way you've partnered with Donald Trump to do things that I think are again violations of what's in our national security interests. So I think there's a lot of answer for us looking forward to the chance to have him before.
Senator, as part of the impeachment, Nick, I'm working for
Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm a junior reporter there. You've been a pretty staunch defender of Joe Biden and takes attacks from President Trump as he tries to pull him into the Ukraine thing. But in talking to some voters today, they wanted to hear more from the DNC to kind of intervene and have Biden's back so we don't get pulled down. Do you think that's a place for the DNC? Should they be defending Biden in these attacks from President
I
Trump?
can't speak for the DNC, I can speak for myself. And this is despicable what the President of the United States is trying to do. And, in some way, try to distract from his violations of his oath, violations of our national security, by creating spurious charges that have no basis in truth or fact. So I will defend Joe Biden, as I will defend anyone who's unjustly attacked in this way, especially someone who's a statesman like he is.
Senator, question on China. Today, a video was released where you can see President shackled and being treated poorly. What should the U.S. be doing about this? What would you do about this?
So I don't know specifically what you're talking about, so it's hard to talk about
It was
specific instances.
the Uyghurs in prison, in the prison encampments.
Again, we have a nation that has a good history of believe being a leader globally on human rights. And I think that there are many things that the President of the United States should be doing when it comes to affirming, supporting, and defending the human rights of all people on this planet. And that's where we should be. I don't know specifically the instance you're taking to, but the Uyghurs and the crisis going on there is something that should be a part of American foreign policy to fight for human rights and justice for minority groups and those who are being persecuted around the globe.
Last question.
Senator, it's been 8 months since that very cold day on your front stoop. What have you learned and how has this campaign evolved since then?
I learned that I can't get away from you. I could travel halfway around the country and you will still show up.
That's right.
That I've tried as a city councilperson, couldn't get away. I tried as a mayor, couldn't get away. I went to Washington to get away from you, could not get away. And I thought maybe if I run for president and come out, to Nevada, to Iowa, I wouldn't have to see Cruz again. But no, you have proven me wrong. So I have now taken a sort of a solace in the fact that I just can't escape you, so I have to confront you right now.
And you are going to answer the question, though, right?
I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
What has changed in the campaign, and how has the campaign evolved?
I'm really grateful. Actually, whoever the candidate is, you always get better as the campaign goes on, and people make you better. I've learned a lot from town halls and listening to people from the North Country in New Hampshire to rural areas in South Carolina. The Americans make you better when you are campaigning and taking time to listen and learn from them. So I'm sharper on issues that matter. My campaign has evolved because we've built a bigger team. And I'm really proud that in states like Iowa, inarguably, we have one of the best teams on the ground here. And they inspire me and encourage me every single day. And then the last thing I'll say that's really evolved is, the last thing to commentary on your question of what's changed is our message has stayed the same. You sometimes see candidates pivot trying to find the message that, no, I got into this race for the purpose of talking to the heart and the spirit of this nation, talking to Americans about the need, after the moral vandalism that we've seen in the White House, to heal, to call to the best of who we are, to revive ideals of civic grace and more courageous empathy, that we are a nation now more than ever that has to start to repair the bonds between us and remind ourselves that as a nation we have lots of common pain and we got to get back to that sense of common purpose. Those drums that announced my campaign video, the spirit with which I got into this election, that has not changed. I've been consistent from the beginning, and what's encouraging to me is I see it's working. I see it's getting through to people. I see us leading states in states like Iowa for endorsements from local activists and local elected officials. I see people encouraging me. Tonight I heard as people came up and said, I didn't know that I was looking for it, but I'm so happy I heard a positive message, a hopeful message. Those are the kind of things that inspire me to stay exactly as I was when I started this campaign, exactly as I was when I started my time heading to the Senate, and exactly like I was when you and I started encountering each other in Newark. We talked then about uniting a city that is impossible as our challenges seemed, that together we could overcome them, and we did. And I think it's a message our country really needs right now, to remember that the lines that divide us are not as strong as the ties that bind us. Remember that we have common cause and common purpose, and I will say that all the way through this campaign, and God willing, I will lead that way from the White House. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm impressed. Stay at it. How old are you?
I'm 12 years old.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
You have a great future. I hope you can see it. Good luck to you, all right?
Good luck in the debate.
Thank you.